Expect the best used car deals guaranteed. Visit arnoldclark.com.
Welcome to Peter and Roughie's football show, sponsored by Arnold Clark. It is Tuesday. I'm Peter Martin. Thank you for joining us on the programme, and thank you to everyone for your huge support, the ever-growing football family on PLZ Soccer on YouTube. In the studio with me, Alan Rough, as ever my sidekick, ably assisted by Alison McConnell and Darren Jackson. We've got European football, among other things, to talk about. Scottish Cup replays to discuss, also Tuesday and Wednesday night action to look forward to, as well as Champions League and of course Europa League involving Celtic and Rangers. Celtic make the trip to Copenhagen. Jeremy Frimpong has been speaking over the last 24 hours, Roughie. Yet another player that hoping to be back soon for Celtic, but he was slightly critical of the injury that's ruled him out over the last few weeks. Very critical of Alan Power. Because he thought at least he should have been given a yellow in that match, and he thought it was a tackle that could have broken his leg.
It certainly was a meaty tackle. I mean, a lot of the guys like him will say that's the way they play, you know, but I didn't think it was a deliberate trying to leg break. I think, if I remember correctly, I think it was his trailing leg that caught him as well. So no, I think he's just one of these players that go 100% into a tackle, and unfortunately caught him. Yeah,
I was there at the game. I didn't think it looked fairly innocuous at the time, but when he got carted off, real worries that he was going to be out for a long time. You know, will Neil Lennon take a chance with him on Thursday?
I think it depends how he sets up and how he plays. If he goes for a back four, then he might put him in at right back. I think if he stays with the back three, you would expect that it would be James Forrest that will stay on the right hand side. Interestingly enough, he said yesterday too, Frimpong, that he can play on the left. He can play left back or right back. Just given the injury to Greg Taylor, I wonder if there might be a temptation to switch things about or not. But I think he's a good player to have back and available. He's been a bonus player, if you like, this season. I don't think Celtic anticipated him having too much involvement at this stage of his career, so he's probably ahead of where they thought he would be, and given his energy and he's running, I think he's a good one maybe to have on the bench to bring on Thursday night if you need him.
Yeah, and it's one of those ones that Ali and many of our journalistic fraternity used to saunter across Europe, and Copenhagen was one of those wonderful places, Darren, that you love to go to, especially if you could spend £13 just on one pint of lager.
I was just going to say that. Is it your round, yeah?
Exactly. 5 straws.
Fantastic place to go. I think they've got a real chance. I do think they'll play one up front. I don't think he'll go 2. I think in Europe, I don't think he'll do that. It's just Frimpong at right back. I'm just not sure who's going to be fit, who's travelling. He's more natural going forward than defending. And in Europe, even though Celtic are playing well just now, I still think in Europe you're always on the back foot. You're not in possession of the ball as much. He's not going to get him forward as much as he would at Celtic Park. In the return game, depending on the score, yes, you play him because he gets forward. Johnny Hayes, I would play Johnny Hayes anyway. So it just depends who's injured, but I'd worry about playing him right back away from home.
Yeah, can they get a result over there, do you think? I think they'll get the easier tie of the two, although both will be difficult games, but I think Rangers certainly get the tougher one against Braga. Are Celtic capable of going away there and getting a win?
I think just now, yes. Yeah. I mean, they've said they're in the zone. They're winning games. They're winning games comfortably. They're winning games where at Aberdeen on Sunday they had to fight it out and they got a result. But I just think they've got so many match winners in the team. I've just said that they'll not be in possession of the ball that much, but when they get it, they really make teams pay. If whoever you play, Christie or Rogic, Whatever strikers play, if he plays 2, which I don't think he will, McGregor can get you a goal, Forrest can get you a goal. So yes, I think they'll go there and get a result.
Yeah, okay. Ali, no matter what country you go to, if there's any slight link with Celtic or Rangers, you always like to get in contact with the player. It'll be great for Neil Lennon to see Thomas Gravesen again. Because he certainly was a character and a half.
He was indeed. He actually didn't speak to media too often, if memory serves me correct.
He's a bit like Darren.
But yeah, I'm sure there'll be. In fact, Neil and him must have played in the crossed paths at the same time. So yeah, I'm sure they might get a wee chat after the game. But you know how it works when the game's on. It's just straightforward, and focus is on the game and getting a result. If there's any pleasantries to be had, it won't be before the game, that's for sure.
Yeah, do you fancy them to get a result?
Yes, I think their momentum just now would suggest that they're more than capable of it. I think the fact that Copenhagen only played their first game on Friday night and struggled, I think they lost the game. I think if you can go to Italy and beat Lazio, I think it would give you confidence going anywhere else. So I think they'll certainly go into it, and over the course of the 2 legs, I think I'd fancy Celtic to go through.
Roughie?
Yeah, I think they'll go through. I think they're good enough to go there. I'm not too sure about a win. I think a score draw would be good for them. I don't think they'll lose it at Parkhead by any manner of means. I think they'll be far too strong at home.
Rangers have the small matter of Braga at home on Thursday in the Europa League. Now, this one I mentioned to you, I think, is the tougher of the 2 ties, quite simply because Portuguese football, from time to time has produced some classic sides, some really good top drawer sides. I always think they're technically difficult to beat, especially when you're playing over in Portugal. But this Braga side have managed to defeat Sporting Lisbon. They've managed to beat Benfica for the first time in 65 years at the weekend. They've also managed to see off Porto as well. So they've got the last 9 games, they've taken a good few scalps, Dan.
Oh, without doubt. They're obviously a good side, Peter. But I always say, coming and playing at Ibrox or Celtic Park in Europe, it's a different game. It's coming and handling it. Now, they'll have big players in their team, and they'll be technically very good on the ball. But the Rangers fans are going to play a massive part in this. They're obviously getting on the players' backs just now, not happy with results, which is rightly so. But a European night's totally different. They'll get behind them, it lifts the players, but the players are going to have to step up because, again, I think they'll be very good in possession of the ball. Rangers are going to have to be good because you can't just keep giving them it back. You have to be brave on the ball in a European game at Ibrox, and we'll see. But Braga would be a real tough game. Yeah.
Do you fancy them?
I think it'll be 1-1.
Yeah. The one thing that's worrying about this tie for me over the 2 legs, Ali, is quite simply that Rangers have no Ryan Jack for the home leg. I think he's been, absolutely superb this season and dynamic from the middle of the park. The other aspect of it is Barisic, Kamara and Morelos all walking a tightrope of suspension if they pick up a yellow card, which would rule them out of the return leg.
Barisic and Morelos would be huge losses, and Morelos is the one that you think could potentially come out of the game with a suspension. I think it's crucial they get something to take to protect when they go over to Portugal for the second leg. But I think when you contrast the fortunes of the 2 teams over the last 6 or 7 weeks, I think you would have to say that it's Braga that will go into the game with the most confidence, with a bit of momentum, with some belief, and you do just wonder what the mental toll of recent weeks has taken on Rangers, or whether you see this as a fresh opportunity and you're almost liberated from the pressures and constraints of domestic football, or is it an additional pressure now to go and live up to what you've done in the opening half of the season in the Europa League?
Yeah, strangely enough, this is where he gained a lot of credibility. You have to distance yourself from Steven Gerrard, the player. You allow him to build a Rangers side. Rangers fans can see the progress, Roughie. But I think even the most ardent of Rangers fans would say they've exceeded expectations in what they've achieved in European football.
Particularly away from home. I've been impressed with them away from home. I couldn't see that at all. and at home they've just been managing to get the win when needed. I don't think they'll like the conditions when they come over here. I don't think Rangers will like the condition of the pitch either, but more so I don't think they'll be able to handle it. They'll be used to playing in pristine conditions, so I think the elements might be in Rangers' favour as well. Although they only beat Livingston 1-0 at the weekend, they had enough chances. They're still creating chances, and that could have been 3 or 4 quite easy. So I think they'll sneak it at home.
Yeah, what, 1-0?
1-0.
We'll go for a draw, 1 each.
Okay. Now, from the European football for Celtic and Rangers to domestic issues. We'll talk about the Scottish Cup in a minute with Killie and Aberdeen in action tomorrow night. Motherwell against St Mirren. These are Scottish Cup replays. To There's no smoke without fire at Euro Club. What are you laughing for? Because this is the part we all love to talk about, which is quite simply when there's a little rumour, Ali and I rub our hands and think to ourselves, oh, there's a story brewing here. And right now I say there's no smoke without fire, Darren Jackson. There's a little suggestion that some of the players have not taken to Daniel Stendel's, call it his technique, his coaching methods, the way he wants them to play. But nevertheless, the cold hard facts, 1 win in 11, it's not good enough. They're bottom of the table, and people are now seriously looking at Hearts and thinking they could go down. Well,
first of all, I don't think they will go down. But you're right, Peter. They waited a long time, and Budge waited a long time to get the manager in. Thought this was the right guy. He's come in, fantastic result against Rangers, that people didn't expect. But the players were magnificent that day, and they've not stepped up to the mark. What he's expecting now, to say that he plays a high press and all that, Peter, that's just really working hard, to be truthful.
Yes, but there is a style though, because they've been exposed, Darren. When they're playing this high press, this back line is so far up.
I was going to. That's the problem, that they're doing the high press, and the full-backs who Clare's did really well. He had a really good game against Kent, but he wants to go forward, so does left back, and it's leaving the 2 centre-halves very exposed. And I think Halkett, who's been excellent for Livingston and very good for Hearts at the beginning of the season, is better in a back three. And I think Suter's better playing on the right side because he drives out the ball better. So they've not got the right there just now, and they're getting caught over the top a lot. I was at the Kilmarnock game, and people are just dragging them in and playing balls over the top. So they need to get that sorted. If they are, that's first and foremost. If you go in and you're losing, you need to get the defence sorted and be solid, not to stop losing games. Then you start to try and win games. But Hearts, it's not acceptable just now. And they need a result very quickly.
Yeah, I'll go as far as to say if they don't get a result on Friday, and Budge has to make a big call on the future of the manager, because quite simply, after St Mirren, it's Rangers, it's Hibs, it's difficult matches ahead, and then after that it's Motherwell, and suddenly you're saying to yourself, well, one of them's the Scottish Cup, the rest of them are games where you're thinking, where's the win coming from before the split? So I think she's got a big call to make, and I think it'll be a brave call, and it might be, from me personally, I thought John Robertson should have been the manager in the first place after Craig Levein. It might be that he's the only man available that could come in and do a Neil Lennon job and save Hearts.
Absolutely, I would agree with you. I thought John Robertson was a natural successor when Craig Levein's time was finally called. I still don't think it's too late to hold your hands up and say we've made a mistake with the appointment, and with every week that goes past it looks increasingly like it was a mistake. I was there on Saturday. I thought Hearts were very lucky to get out of the game with a point. They bombarded Hamilton, but I just think that they are so exposed at times with the way that they play. It invites problems. I'm not entirely convinced that the players have bought into the way that the manager wants them to play. And I think if you go back to the very beginning of Stendel's time, if you look to the whole incident with Christophe Berra, I think that can work against you when you go into a dressing room and you remove key figures like that. I don't think Christopher Berra had a particularly good season, but the manner in which it was done can cause ripples of discontent that go through the dressing room. If you get off to that wrong foot, I think it can be very difficult to recover it when results aren't coming. If you don't get an immediate reaction on the pitch with results, I think it's very difficult to make up that kind of ground.
Yeah, Roughie, there was a suggestion, as ever, there's a line in the sand. They've beaten Rangers. This is it. You know, he's getting it right. People were actually swaying towards him then. The manner of which they played, they defeated, they competed against Rangers was there for all to see. But since then, you know, you're now looking at, for me, I don't mind a manager, you know, saying to certain players, as Darren alluded to a couple of weeks ago on the programme, managers sometimes just don't fancy, or you're too high on their wage bill and they can go and get a couple other players, or they just don't think you can fit into their system. My problem now with Daniel Stendel is he's changed it, he's got players back, he's got his own style of players in, but the biggest problem is trying to change the style to this high press game, which they are being found out big time.
Yeah, that's the problem. I agree with Darren. You know, you've got to get the players' head round it, right? This is what we're doing. And you can't just change it overnight, because these players are set in a back four or a five or whatever it is, and now you're saying to them, right, this is the way we're playing. And it might take them a wee while to get their heads round it, and they're not getting their heads round it because we've saw the last couple of results. So the sooner they get their act together and start believing that that is the style of play that they're going to adapt, but they need to win games to give them the belief that this is working. You know, can I just add another wee bit? I'd love to know why John Robertson wasn't in the equation the last time round.
Well, I'm gobsmacked as well, because I think he's done a wonderful job at Inverness. I also think the only crime that he suffered from the last time around at Tynecastle was having Vladimir Romanov as the owner of the club. I think he derailed him at every opportunity. The biggest problem, I think, now is we're at a critical point. Are we being too harsh on Daniel Stendel here? Or is it a case that it's too critical because it's getting late on in the season and we can't see progress?
Peter, I've been there, that's life in management now. People just have an opinion. If you don't win games, you're under pressure. Now, my opinion on, and I don't know if this was Anne Budge's opinion, but I don't think Robbo was considered, because it's just, we'll just bring in the Hearts legend back. Yeah, the fans will love that.
If they don't look at the big thing.
Yeah, they don't look at the bigger picture and think, John Robertson's actually a very good coach, and that's why he's coming back. Not because it helps massively that you're a Hearts legend, but we're going back to the high press. You can't really have a high press with Liam Boyce, because that's not his game. Now, I think he's a fantastic player. I really like him, the way he takes the ball and the way he links the play with his teammates and all that. But you can't have a high press, because he's not going to beast about for you. So he knew he was bringing him in. So to go and play that way with someone you've brought in, doesn't make real sense to me.
Yeah, I think his biggest problem is that the back line just can't play a high press. I don't automatically look at Craig Halkett and John Souttar and think speed. You know, if that ball's over the back of them, I think they're in trouble. And you're now going with a right back who's not a right back, and then you're going with a left back who, all due respect, has picked up injuries every now and then. Aidan White's not going to run in that team. You know, he's injured 1 week, then he's out, then he's going to run a 3 or 4 games. Then you're thinking, he'll change it about. So I think the back line has been the biggest problem. They lose goals, they can lose games. Interesting, we'll wait and see what develops for it, but Friday is definitely D-Day there. For me, it may well be different for other people, I accept that. 2 Scottish Cup games, you're going to go and watch Motherwell St Mirren. Who's winning it?
I fancy Motherwell. I spoke to Stephen Robinson yesterday at the reserve game, and he was over the moon the way his boys played against Celtic in the first half. He said they played really well, and he just held his hand up. He said they were brilliant in the second half. He says, but I was really happy the way they played. I think at home, I think they're strong at home. I think the boy Long scoring goals for them. Tony Watt come in and it'll be a massive help. I think it'll be too strong for St Mirren tonight. I fancy Motherwell.
Ali, Kelly Aberdeen, who wins that replay?
I fancy Kilmarnock. I was at Rugby Park on Sunday. I thought they were unlucky not to get a draw. I think that last 10 minutes they threw everything at it. They were in the races in the first half. The second half they were the better team. Unlucky not to get a penalty at the very last stages of the game. I just fancy that they might do something tomorrow night.
Yeah, just before I get your predictions on the Champions League football, just a quick one, Roughie. Got to brag about it. John McGinn's apparently number 47 in the top 100 international stars in the UEFA's list. So, I mean, as you can see it there, Roughie, we've got to brag about that. He's 47. He's ahead of Kylian Mbappe, no less.
Fantastic. Wait till he starts playing again.
Yeah,
really move up.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not quite an accurate one. Memphis Depay is number 1. I don't know where they've dragged these stats from, but nevertheless, I always like a bit of Champions League. Love it. Jurgen Klopp, it's Atletico against Liverpool. If you're in control of the telly tonight, you've got to be watching that one. The reigning champions are obviously hoping to go back to the final for a third consecutive year, but Jurgen Klopp says it's going to be tough in Spain.
Atletico, I would say, playing Atletico is one of the most difficult things in the life of a football player. Really good organized, a result machine, squeezing results pretty much out of each game if possible. Yes, people will tell me and told me already this year it's not exactly like what, but it's a transition period, that's normal.
Roughie, I'm going to get you the last word on this show. It's Atletico against Liverpool. This is a Liverpool side, by the way, 43 games unbeaten.
You're just saying that because Atletico are my side.
No, I'm just saying to you because Liverpool are my side, and I'm telling you right now, they're 6 games away from equaling Arsenal's invincible.
If Liverpool can score a goal tonight, they'll go through, because Atletico don't usually lose that many goals.
Okay, there you are. It is an opinion.
Wow!
And we've got to be thankful for it. Anyway, if you've got an opinion, why not join us across all our social media at PLZ Soccer on Twitter. Don't forget, you can catch us at PLZ Scottish Football on Instagram and, of course, on Facebook as well. We've got Facebook Live every day and our YouTube channel. Thank you for the ever-growing football family joining us weekly, Monday to Friday. And let's not forget also the podcast still out there with Tam Cowan, Andy Cameron, Roughie and myself. It is an absolute gagathon. It's the only way I can describe it. A good laugh and a good trip down memory lane with a man who was on top of the pops, Andy Cameron, and Roughie knows what it's all like to be on top of the pops as well with his favourite band, Tight Fit. But you'll have to listen to the podcast to find out what that story's all about. So thanks to Roughie, thanks to Alison McConnell, and thanks to Darren Jackson from myself, Peter Martin. Thanks for watching.
Expect the best used car deals guaranteed. Visit arnoldclark.com.